This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're coming to you live from the 9th annual LD Micro main event in Bel Air, California, 2016. With me is a return guest, Richard Schumacher from Pressure BioSciences, Inc. It's a publicly traded company, and the symbol is PBIO. It's great to have you on today's show.
It's great to be back, Shelley. Thank you.
It's a perfect opportunity to ask you some questions, but let's start out first with an overview of the company.
Well, we are a life science tools company. What that means is we make instruments and associated consumables that we sell to the research market. We sell these systems worldwide. In its simplest form, we use pulses of pressure to control molecules. We break open viruses and bacteria. We are able to manipulate the samples that are in the research lab for the scientists by using pulses of pressure. In the past, scientists have used heat, they use cold, they use chemicals, they've used mechanical means to break open cells and control cells. We use pulses of pressure, pressure cycling technology.
How is your market growth operating?
You know, the market is very, very big. We're very excited about the market. There are about 500,000 researchers in about 80,000 labs all over the world. And these are researchers that are doing some magnificent work. They're looking for cures for different diseases. They're looking for cures and changes for disorders. And they're trying to help this world of ours get better. And they need help and they need tools, and we make those tools. So with 500,000 potential researchers in our domain, we're excited about the size of the market, and there's certainly a need for our product.
You know, Rick, we've spoken before, and, you know, I don't remember if I asked you whether or not, you know, what the affordability is of your equipment, because some of these labs may not necessarily be connected to a large company. Some of them may be connected to a small university. So how does that impact versus cost? Does it, you know, hurt your sales? Does it matter? I mean, you know, I want to let's drill down on that.
Well, laboratory equipment can be inexpensive, and it can be expensive. And when you're talking about paradigm-changing laboratory equipment that can maybe find that new molecule, that new protein, develop a method to study DNA better than has been studied before, that costs money. Now, the instruments that our labs that we deal with are working with, for instance, the mass spectrometer. The mass spectrometer is a $1 million machine. You can get one for $400,000 or $500,000. You can spend $1.5 million. Generally speaking, a mass spectrometer is a $1 million machine. A mass spectrometer is the instrument of choice to understand and read a protein. So if you're studying proteins and you're looking for proteins that might be related to perhaps a biologic that you can make to cure a disease, you're going to probably have a mass spectrometer in your lab, a $1 million machine. That machine requires you to break open tissue in the lab and to take proteins out and then to break the proteins down and put them into the mass spectrometer. That's what our instrument does. Something has to sit in front of that $1 million machine that will give you a quality piece of protein that will then go into the mass spectrometer. Pressure cycling technology is one of the answers, and in fact, in the last couple of years, we've had about 5 or 6 key opinion leaders around the world publish papers and present data saying that we used PCT in front of our mass spectrometer. Our PCT instrument, Shelley, runs about $50,000. So you're talking about a $50,000 instrument that sits in front of a $500,000, $1 million instrument and can actually make that instrument better.
What in particular makes your equipment better than the other equipment available in the marketplace?
That's a very good question, Shelley. Thank you. We are different, and we believe we're better. We're better because we can control how much we want to, let's say, destroy the molecule. You may not care about keeping that molecule intact. So destroying it, getting to a pressure level that will blow that cell up and release everything inside is not a problem. In some cases, you want to keep the molecule intact. So we can dial in lower pressure and we can still manipulate that molecule. So the wonderful thing about pressure is that in our system is that we can go anywhere from 500 pounds per square inch up to 90,000 pounds per square inch. And we can decide how much pressure, how long to be under pressure, and how many cycles, pressure cycling technology we want. And we can go from anywhere from barely touching the sample but just getting enough done that we we can then use the results to completely destroying it and making it so it's not infectious.
Other than other methods of destroying the molecule, do you have any competition with technology similar to PCT?
We do not believe we do. We do not. We know of no other company that's using pulses of pressure, and most of the other methods that we compete against, we believe are methods that you can't control as well as you control pressure cycling technology.
Anything new? Any recent announcements that you'd like to tell me?
We've had a wonderful last 2 or 3 months. Number one is we released a brand new instrument, and this new instrument has been purchased by a number of labs, and the most notable is the Children's Medical Research Institute in Sydney, Australia, and they were just named an official collaborator to the National Institute's Cancer Moonshot. They're going to be testing 70,000 tumor samples over the next 7 years, and they're going to be using our system to break open the samples. Second thing is just recently on the financial end, we've had 2 major announcements. The first is we closed a $2 million line of credit on very favorable terms for our shareholders, and this gives us the runway we need to do a number of things like building our sales team. We also announced that we closed on $610,000 in an equity deal. So we've brought in a $2 million line of credit, $610,000 in an equity deal, a brand new instrument that's out, and most of all, in our third quarter, we announced record numbers for the third quarter and record numbers for the year to date.
Only tell me what you're allowed to tell me. Looking forward into the next year, we're almost in 2017. What are some of the milestones you'd like to see achieved by the company?
The biggest milestone, I think, is to get the company listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. We've mentioned several times that it's a goal of the company to uplist our company to NASDAQ. We feel that being on NASDAQ is going to open the company up to a lot of stockbrokers, a lot of institutions that will not deal with over-the-counter stocks right now. So we're very excited about that. The other thing is our deal with SciX. We have a deal with a very large company, the largest company in the world that sells the mass spectrometers to researchers, and this is a company called SciX. It's owned by the Danaher Group, which is a $70 billion group. SciX in its own right is 2,700 people, and again, they have the largest market share of labs that are buying mass spectrometers. We have a deal with them to do a co-marketing, and it's gotten off to a slower start than we had hoped, but we're looking forward to 2017. You know, it takes time to get to know companies. They're a 2,700 person, we're a 9-person company. It takes a little time to get to know each other, but we've had a few months now, and we're looking forward to 2017 because they have got, you know, a lot of customers out there that we hope we're going to be understanding the technology that we have very soon.
Okay, let's get your website out there for more information, if you would.
www.pressurebiosciences.com. That's pressurebiosciences.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Schumacher, Pressure BioSciences, Inc. It's a publicly traded company, and the symbol is PBIO. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the LD Micro 9th Annual Main Event in Bel Air, California, 2016. Rick, thanks for coming on.
Shelley, thanks again for having me.
Always a pleasure.